Okay, I got the hat down to where we need it to be right now. And actually you can make this into an Amish hat if you wanted to, or into a top hat. There's variations you can do with it, but we have a little bit of a slope there, maybe a little bit more. It needs to come off of here. See how nice it is after you wet it down. Now, one thing I want to mention, if you use this solution that I use, a 50% water and alcohol, rubbing alcohol, the 70% strength, and you put it in one of these little bottles, you can buy these for $1 at Walmart. You don't want to overdo it, because what can happen is as it dries it can start chipping or checking, meaning cracking everywhere, and then it really turns into a mess. And I have had that happen when I got carried away with a little bit. But what we're going to do on the bottom here, we're going to start trimming up a little bit on the underside of the hat. Okay, we're just going to go ahead and sharpen my knife a little bit. It seems a lot better right now. Okay, I'm just gonna kind of take this out. There we go. Now you notice the underside is about maybe 1/8 of an inch or so. So we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to go ahead and cut that out and stuff here. Alright. And the same thing on the back side of his head. I'm just going to come up a little bit. Now the one thing we're going to do is we're going to start rounding this off just a little bit. Just take the points off. You'll see it merge a little better when you have these points off of it. And just a little bit on the back, not a lot. Okay? So the one thing we're going to do now is we're going to round off, actually right here is where the emblem is, right? So we're going to just kind of put a little, and we're going to bring this right down. Try to bring this down a little bit. I hear the buggies going by today. It's Sunday. So, okay. So what I do sometimes is, it's just as easier for me to figure out where the line goes. If I take my little V tool, I use these little micro tools a lot lately. What I want to do is just go down one side, down the other, roughly in the same spot if you can, okay? Then bring this up and around a little bit. Just like take that corner off a little bit. Alright? And so you have kind of an idea where it is. And I'm going to re-establish it with my knife. I'm going to just trim a little bit of that off. Alright? And yeah, that should have been a little bit wider, but it is what it is right now, so I'm going to go with it. Alright? And then right behind it, right behind here, I'm going to go ahead and kind of notch a little segment out behind it. I did a little stop cut, so we're going to just cut behind her a little bit. Just like so. Alright. So we're going to round this off. The top part of the hat, we're going to start rounding it off. Alright. Now all those emblems are a little bit different in the front. You can make it as big as you want or as small as you want. Whatever. You know, if you have something you can duplicate it off a real hat, that'd be the best way to do it. But it gives you the idea. You know, that's a fireman's hat. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back here and we're going to score it again, or put a stop cut, come behind it a little bit. That looks like a little flat plate at the top. Alright, so it kind of sticks out a little bit. You can see it's starting to stick out. Don't know if you can see that as well. Okay, right there. And that's kind of neat to be able to see that merge. So what we're going to do is we're just going to round this off. We're going to take the back portion off. We're going to round it this way as we're looking at it from the side. Sometimes it's easier to do one side first and then kind of match the rest of it. You know, there's a way of doing it. Okay, see, we have that slope of that hat. Okay, exactly where we want. So now we're going to take off that edge and start rounding it this way when we're looking at it from the front. And just be ever so careful when you get up here to this little plate that you created. Alright, same thing over here. So you could see with that type of a hat, you could do it into a top hat, or you could make it into a fireman hat. You know, there's a number of different things you could do with that design. You can make it into an Amish hat if you want. You can have a sitting Amish if you want. Hats are really important. They really distinguish what your carving is. You know, it really sets the tone for your carving to get a good looking hat on them. Okay, so as you see, this is not completely rounded. Alright, so we're going to continue chopping out underneath a little bit more again. And you don't want to hack too much off here, because your nose is going to go in here, of course. You know, and we're going to put it, actually we're going to give it an eyebrow. Something a little different than I hadn't done too often in the past. And we'll see what comes of it. So we're going to bring this in further anyway, so why don't we just bring this in a little bit further. But you want to be careful you don't push too much, you know, push too hard with your knife, because you don't want to chop this off. And if you happen to do it, don't panic. Just go get some super glue and glue it back on. You know, it'll be fine, really. Okay, so as you can see, it's starting to shape up. See it? It's starting to shape up. So you do a little bit at a time. You know, this is not a racing contest, you know, to get this done in 2 hours or an hour. Just take your time and enjoy it. You know, that's part of the thing with carving. It's creating it and enjoying it as you go. You know, if you're always in a rush to finish it right away, which isn't a bad thing, don't get me wrong, but try to enjoy the process. I enjoy the feel of cutting the wood and, you know, having a nice sharp knife and just seeing the wood glide off. It's just nice to take my time with it a lot of times. I have to admit though, last night when I worked on this thing, I wanted it done, and the next thing I looked up and it was like 4:30 in the morning. I thought, oh, maybe I should quit and get some sleep. But when you're really busy with something and you're really enjoying it, time really doesn't mean anything. Just hard to get up in the morning, but so what I'm doing is I'm assessing it, I'm looking at it, and just trying to see what needs to be done. Okay, so that looks pretty good for the hat. Let's start with the face. We'll be right back with that. Now, the hat's pretty well done for now. We've got a lot more to do on it, but I want to proportion this thing as much as possible first. Alright? We'll be back.